Hi everyone, today I want to make a quick video sharing this carbon ink platinum fountain pen. So basically I ordered mine from Amazon and it came in this packaging, and so it's extra fine and it claims that it comes with the ink that is light and water resistant, and it's a black, so you get a little what do they call, cartridge, and yeah, so you got one cartridge and the pen, and that's how it comes in the packaging. So I discovered this pen by an accident when I was actually ordering a bottle of platinum carbon ink. So platinum is the brand and then it's carbon ink, and then I realized that they also do a fountain pen, and because it was an extra fine I was very excited to try it because let's get some drying here, because I couldn't find anywhere else a super fine nib. The Lamy pen that I have, let me just grab it. So this is I think this is extra fine and it's not fine enough for me. I would love the really thin line, so I thought that would be a great great thing if I could find something. So I didn't know what to expect, because in terms of price it's about, I think about £7-8, something like that, and it's very cheap for a fountain pen, so I didn't know what quality it would be. Now when it arrived, I have to say it feels great to hold. It doesn't feel like a cheap pen. The lid maybe feels a little bit, it doesn't click in or anything like that, it just slides on top and it comes off easily, but it does stay put. So there is nothing about this pen obviously that says luxurious, but it's not looking cheap or feeling cheap. So I also like that it's got this elongated shape and comes to a point, so it's great to kind of use to point with it. So I just realized I smudged some of that dry ink. Of course, the day I decided to finally take off the craft mat, it's, you know, I got a whole mess going on because I didn't realize, but some pieces of dry ink came off from the bottle, and even if it's dry ink, when I tried to wipe it, it basically smudged on my desk, so I had to clean that up. So I pulled out a silicone kind of small mat now, and in case you're interested, this is heat resistant, so it's great for heat guns and glue guns and all that kind of stuff. And it's really soft and small, so as you can see, not big at all, but it's great for a small size kind of project. Now I also made a mess here on the sketchbook as well with that dry ink, so it's a bit annoying, but anyway, I'm just going to use this as a demonstration, this page. So yeah, so that's what it is, and the nib is very pretty. I have shown you the nib in another video, and if you haven't seen it, then you get it to see here. So that's what it looks like. So it's quite simple. You unscrew this and then you get the cartridge that you insert, and I've used mine a little bit up now, and then you screw the long part back onto it, and that is it. Now you do have to make sure it really clicks inside, because otherwise it will take you ages to get anything out, and I wasn't sure why it wasn't working, so make sure you do that. And I also ordered a converter, because obviously once the cartridge is empty I won't be able to use any ink, and so with a converter I will be able to use the same ink from this bottle, or I can use any other ink depending what I feel like. So I just want to demonstrate how thin the line is. Now I'm going as a comparison. If you have the Lamy Fine, then you will see what the difference is. So I think I'm just going to draw a few lines here. So this is Lamy Safari Fine. Okay, so Lamy Fine, and this one is extra fine. So again, Lamy Safari extra fine. Now when I was ordering the extra fine, I thought it will be very fine, and it's fine enough, but it's not as fine as I was hoping for it to be, considering that it's marketed as extra fine. Now here is the extra fine from Platinum, and you can see instantly what a big difference it is. So this is the Platinum extra fine. So it's basically 3 different sizes, although these are called the same, but there's a big difference. And if I actually put these lines next to the fine, you will see the biggest difference there. So that's great, and it just allows me to do very fine illustration. So I'll just do a very quick illustration right here and demonstrate it to you, that I can get these great sort of lines that I wouldn't get with a nib that is thicker. So right here I'm not doing any detailing, I'm just but if I wanted to, I could go very fine, and I will show you in a second. So this allows me to produce that sketchy look because the line is so thick. So in terms of lashes, I love this pen because obviously I want the lashes to be as fine as I can get them to be. So there you go. And then in terms of the neck, so I hope that gives you some sort of idea of how fine it is. You know, with the brows I could really go and create individual lines to kind of make it really detailed. So now I want to show you that this is a waterproof ink. So I'm going to grab, okay, so I grabbed my St. Petersburg White Nights palette. I'm going to grab indigo. I'm actually going to zoom in so you can see how waterproof this ink is. So I'm going to go into indigo. So indigo is a blue color, so it might not be the best color to demonstrate it on. So I'm going to wash off my brush and just wet the line so that you can see that nothing is coming off this ink. So that's great. On some papers you will find that so I had one paper which was 150 GSM, and it wasn't sort of a very high quality paper, and when I was using this ink on that paper, I did find that there was a little bit of flowing and ink movement, so be aware on which paper you use it. So I'm going now to show you the lips, because that's usually, with all my other inks, the color starts to really move and you get this kind of like a dirty kind of color. So here you'll see that is not the case. The color stays as pure as it is originally, so there is no movement at all. So you can see the color is pure and it hasn't picked up that ink. Now I'm going to go into the eyes. As you always know, I love to use the ink that comes with the Lamy pans, so the Lamy water soluble ink in black, because it has a movement, and so I then easily can go over with a wet brush in this area and pulls the ink and creates an eyeshadow. But as you can see, nothing is happening here at all, so I will have to go into indigo again and give her a bit of a blue eyeshadow right there. So it gives you a lot more control over your illustrations, and you know, that's a great thing. I think in terms of shadowing, for example, I can't do the shadows, as you know, if you know from my previous videos, I like to pull out the ink for shadowing. So for that reason you need to get something separate, and what I recommend would be Dr. P.H. Martin's, and I'll show you in a second. Okay, so here's my palette that I keep my Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Watercolors, and this is a porcelain palette. Now, one drop of this watercolor will last you a good while, so I still have some left in the palette, so I'm just going to really water it down. You can see how pale it is as a wash, and then I'm just going to use it as a shadow. So if I can't pull out the ink, all I'm going to do is just use it like that, really. And I said before as well, it's great to put shadows on the face because it's so lovely and pale that you don't end up looking, it doesn't end up looking like a beard in the end, which is what I like. So it's quite subtle, there isn't really much going on at all. I can even go into the eyeshadow because I quite like this color. I don't like it when it's colorful, and if you put too much you can just dab it off. You have a little bit of time to do that in, because Dr. P.H. Martin's tend to be quite staining. So anyways, this was just to show you how waterproof it really is. Look, I'll show you. I'll go again on the, just make sure my water brush is clean. I'm going to go over the lashes, and you can see nothing happens, no smudging, no smearing at all. So yeah, so you can leave all the, you know, all the detailing and things like that. It's great. Also, if I want to, for example, if I want to add some flowers, like in my Frida illustration, what I find is great, you can still see the details, the detail of the petals. And of course, flowers, you don't want the black ink starting running into the watercolor and making it all muddy. So I'll show you in a second. I'll just I'm going to set it with a heat gun, and after you use a heat gun, what happens is that the paper starts to kind of bend and curl a little bit, but once it cools down it goes back to flat. But if that bothers you, if you need to go back to your illustration, just use one of those clips, whatever you have. I mean, this is a big one. Trying to find a small one. So you just clip it in like that, and that stays put. So in terms of flowers, I just want to show you. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. If I want to add flowers, I mean, now of course that the indigo is there, it won't be too helpful, but I'm just going to see. So imagine I want 3 flowers like this. I'm going to give it a dark center. So it is important to either use a heat gun now or wait a little bit, because you don't want to risk a little bit of a ink flow, because although it's water resistant, sometimes if the line is thicker like the center is here, I put a bit more ink, then it can still bleed a little bit more. So I'm just going to set it with the heat gun. And now I'm going to grab like a pinkish color. I think this is maybe a mix of Alpine Rose with another color, I don't know. Well, actually I want this red. It would look better because the lips are already pink. So I'm just going to quite messily go in, and you can see that nothing happens. The color stays pure and beautiful and bright, and there isn't any movement. So there you go. So that's great if you want to add a bit of detailing. So I hope you found this useful. And if you were thinking of what inks to get and you're looking for a waterproof ink, then hopefully that would help you. Thanks for watching and see you soon.